Look closely at every person who has ever had power over you, and you will find the same thing hidden underneath. It was never their strength that controlled you. It was your need. The boss who makes you swallow your pride does not control you because he is powerful. He controls you because you need the paycheck. The person who takes you for granted does not hold you because they are special. They hold you because you need their attention and fear losing it. The friends whose approval you chase. The crowd whose opinion you dread. The people you bend and shrink and apologize for yourself in front of. None of them are actually stronger than you. They simply have their hands on something you need, and as long as you need it, they can pull the string whenever they want. This is the secret that almost no one understands, and it is the secret that Arthur Schopenhauer built an entire philosophy around. Every chain that binds a human being is forged from a need. Take away the need, and the chain turns to dust. The man who needs nothing from anyone cannot be controlled by anyone, because there is no handle left for them to grab. He cannot be bribed, because he wants nothing they can give. He cannot be threatened, because he fears losing nothing they can take. He cannot be manipulated, because the levers that move other people simply do not exist in him. He has become, in the truest sense of the word, untouchable. That is what we are going to build in the next 40 minutes. Not the power to control other people, because that is the weak man's game, the game of someone who still needs something and is trying to force the world to give it to him. We are building something far greater and far rarer. We are building the power to need no one. And I promise you, by the time we are done, you will look at every relationship, every fear, and every chain in your life differently, because you will finally understand where their grip on you actually comes from and how to break it for good. Schopenhauer was not a gentle philosopher. He looked at human beings with cold, clear eyes, and he saw that most people spend their entire lives as prisoners of their own wanting. They are dragged through existence by their needs, their cravings, their bottomless hunger for approval and comfort and belonging, and they call this being alive. But he also saw the way out. He saw that the man who learns to want less becomes free, and the man who learns to need nothing becomes untouchable. That is the path we are walking today. So before we begin, do one thing for me. Drop this in the comments, type it out, and make it a vow. My need is what they control, and when I need no one, I am free. Say it, and let's begin to break the chains. Number 1. Every chain that holds you was forged from a need. Start here, because everything else is built on this one truth. You are not controlled by force. You are controlled by need. And until you see this clearly, you will keep blaming the wrong thing for your own captivity. Think about anyone who has ever had a hold on you. Now ask yourself honestly, what did I need from them? Because I promise you, the answer is always there. Maybe you needed their love, so you tolerated their cruelty. Maybe you needed their approval, so you betrayed your own judgment to win it. Maybe you needed to feel included, so you stayed in a circle that quietly poisoned you. Maybe you needed their money, their validation, their reassurance, their permission. Whatever it was, that need was the leash. And they held the other end of it, and as long as you needed, you obeyed. This is the mechanism of all control, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Power does not flow from the strong to the weak. Power flows from whoever needs less to whoever needs more. The person in any relationship who needs the other one less is the one who holds all the power, always. This is why the person who is desperate for love always ends up controlled, while the person who could walk away at any moment is the one who is respected. It is not about who cares more. It is about who needs more. And need is a weakness that other people can smell from a mile away. Schopenhauer understood that the ordinary man is dragged through his whole life by an endless chain of needs, each one a rope in someone else's hands. He wanted comfort, so he became a slave to his job. He wanted status, so he became a slave to other people's opinions. He wanted belonging, so he became a slave to the group. Every want became a chain, and by the end, he was so thoroughly bound that he mistook his captivity for a normal life. But here is the liberating truth. Every one of those chains can be broken, and none of them are broken by fighting the person who holds the other end. You do not break free by defeating them. You break free by removing the need. The moment you no longer need what they are holding, their power over you vanishes completely, without a word, without a fight. They are left standing there, holding a leash attached to nothing. So from this day forward, whenever you feel someone's grip on you, do not ask, how do I make them let go? Ask a better question. What do I need from this that gives them the power? Find the need, name it, and then begin the work of no longer needing it. That is the whole path to becoming untouchable. And it starts with seeing that the chains were never made of iron. They were made of need. And need is something you can dissolve. Drop this in the comments. My freedom is my own. Number 2, desire is the handle they grab you by. Schopenhauer's deepest insight into human suffering was this. He believed that the root of nearly all our misery is desire itself, the endless, restless wanting that never stops. We want something, and we suffer until we get it. Then we get it, and the satisfaction lasts for a moment, before a new want rises up to take its place, and we are suffering again. Life, he said, swings like a pendulum between the pain of wanting and the emptiness of having, and most people never escape it. They are ruled entirely by their desires. Now here is why this matters for your power. Every desire you have is a handle that someone else can grab you by. If you desperately want money, then anyone who controls money controls you. If you desperately want to be admired, then anyone who can give or withhold admiration controls you. If you desperately want comfort, pleasure, status, attention, then the whole world has 1,000 handles to move you with, and it will move you again and again, because your desires make you predictable, and predictable people are easy to control. Watch how it works. A person who craves luxury can be trapped in a job they hate because they cannot bear to give up the lifestyle. A person who craves attention can be led anywhere by whoever flatters them best. A person who craves being liked will abandon their own values the instant the group frowns. Their desires are like ropes tied to their limbs, and anyone who knows which rope to pull can make them dance. They think they are choosing freely. They are being led by the very things they want. This is not a call to want nothing and become empty. Schopenhauer knew that to be human is to have desires. The point is not to kill desire. The point is to master it, so that it serves you instead of ruling you. The untouchable man still enjoys good things when they come, but he does not need them, and that difference is everything. He can have money and enjoy it, but he is not owned by the fear of losing it. He can enjoy admiration, but he does not chase it, and so it cannot be used to lead him. He holds his desires loosely, like tools he can put down at any moment, instead of gripping them like a drowning man grips a rope. The less you crave, the fewer handles there are for the world to grab. This is why the person who has learned to be content with little is so difficult to control. What are you going to threaten him with? What are you going to bribe him with? He wants almost nothing you can give or take. He has quietly removed the handles one by one, until there is almost nothing left to grab. And a man with no handles is a man no one can move against his will. So examine your desires, not to destroy them, but to loosen your grip on them. Every craving you master is a handle you break off. Every want you learn to hold lightly is one less rope the world can pull. Reduce what you need to be happy, and you reduce what anyone can use to control you. That is the discipline that turns an ordinary man into an untouchable one. Drop this in the comments. I master my desires. They do not master me. Number 3. The need for approval is the longest leash of all. Of all the needs that bind a human being, none is longer, stronger, or more invisible than the need for approval. It is the leash people wear without even knowing it is around their neck. From the time you were a child, you were trained to seek it. A smile meant you were good. A frown meant you were bad. And most people never grow out of that training. They spend their entire adult lives performing for smiles and terrified of frowns, letting the approval of others become the invisible hand that steers their every move. Schopenhauer had nothing but contempt for this weakness, and he called it out with brutal clarity. He said that we would have far fewer worries if we stopped living for the opinions of others, because so much of human anxiety comes from an obsessive concern with what other people think. He pointed out how absurd it is that a man will sacrifice his peace, his time, even his integrity, all to raise his standing in the minds of people whose minds he does not even respect. We chain ourselves to the judgments of the crowd, and the crowd does not even care. Look at how this need distorts a life. A person will stay silent when they should speak, because they need the room to approve of them. They will laugh at what they find cruel, agree with what they know is false, and betray what they truly believe, all to avoid the discomfort of disapproval. They will make the biggest decisions of their life, who to marry, what to do, how to live, based not on what they want, but on what will look right to people who are barely paying attention. Their whole existence becomes a performance for an audience that is not even watching. And they call this being a normal, social, well-adjusted person. But the man who needs no one's approval is free in a way that terrifies the people around him. He speaks his mind because he does not need you to agree. He walks his own path because he does not need you to understand it. He can be disliked without flinching, criticized without crumbling, rejected without collapsing, because his sense of worth was never in your hands to begin with. He carries it inside himself, where no one can reach it. And because your approval is worthless to him, your disapproval is powerless against him. You have nothing to offer that he needs, and therefore nothing to threaten him with. This is why killing the need for approval is one of the most liberating things a person can ever do. The day you stop needing to be liked is the day half the world's grip on you disappears. You will be amazed at how much lighter you feel, how much clearer your decisions become, how much of your energy was being quietly stolen by the endless work of managing other people's opinions of you. That energy comes back to you, that clarity comes back to you, that freedom comes back to you. You do not owe the world a version of yourself that it approves of. You owe yourself a version of yourself that is real. Let them approve, let them disapprove, and let both of those things mean exactly nothing to the way you live. The approval of others is the longest leash there is, and the moment you drop it, you can finally walk wherever you choose. Drop this in the comments. I need no one's approval. Number 4. Lower your expectations, and betrayal loses its power. Here is one of Schopenhauer's most practical and most misunderstood teachings. He was famous for expecting very little from human beings, and people call this pessimism, as if it were a flaw, but there is a hidden power in it that almost no one appreciates, and once you understand it, you gain a kind of armor that betrayal cannot pierce. Think about how disappointment actually works. You are not hurt by what people do. You are hurt by the gap between what they do and what you expected them to do. The betrayal that devastates you is only devastating because you expected loyalty. The selfishness that wounds you only wounds because you expected kindness. The gap between your expectation and their behavior is where all the pain lives. Raise your expectations and you widen that gap, and you set yourself up to be crushed again and again. Lower your expectations to match what people actually are, and the gap closes, and the pain has nowhere left to live. Schopenhauer understood human nature clearly enough that very little of it could surprise him. He expected people to act in their own self-interest, to be inconstant, to disappoint, and because he expected it, he was rarely blindsided by it. This is not bitterness. It is preparation. The man who expects the world to be exactly what it is walks through life with a strange peace, because he is never ambushed by reality. He is not naive, and so he is not constantly betrayed. He sees people as they are, not as he wishes them to be, and that clear sight protects him. Now watch what this does to your dependency on others. When you expect people to save you, to complete you, to always be there, you hand them enormous power over your emotional life, and you are shattered every time they fall short, which they will because they are human. But when you expect nothing that they have not proven they will give, you become impossible to devastate. You can appreciate loyalty when you find it, because it is a pleasant surprise rather than a demand. You can enjoy kindness when it comes, without being destroyed when it doesn't. You have stopped depending on the world to behave better than it is capable of behaving. This is a quiet form of becoming untouchable. The person with low expectations of others cannot be manipulated by the threat of disappointment, because they have already made peace with it. They cannot be strung along by empty promises, because they never believed the promises in the first place. They give people the chance to prove themselves through action, and they believe only the actions, never the words. And so they are almost never fooled and almost never betrayed. Because betrayal requires a trust they never gave away for free. Expect little, and you will rarely be wounded. Demand nothing from others that they have not earned the right to be trusted with, and no one will have the power to shatter you by falling short. Let people be exactly what they are, and let your peace depend on none of it. This is not coldness. It is wisdom. It is the calm of a man who has stopped needing the world to be kinder than it is, and has therefore stopped being at its mercy. Drop this in the comments. I expect nothing, so nothing can break me. Number 5, build what cannot be taken and depend on your own hands. There is a kind of security that everyone chases and almost no one finds. And the reason they never find it is that they keep looking for it in the wrong place. They look for security in other people, in a relationship, in a group, in someone who will always be there. But every external source of security can be taken away. People leave, people change, people die, and the moment they are gone, the security they provided goes with them, and the person who depended on it is left with nothing. Schopenhauer's answer to this was simple and unshakable. He said that the greatest source of happiness and stability a person can have is what they carry within themselves, because that is the only possession that can never be lost. Everything outside you belongs to fortune, and fortune can reclaim it at any moment. But what you have built inside yourself, your mind, your skills, your character, your ability to stand on your own, that is yours forever, and no one can take it from you. This is why the untouchable man builds inward. He develops his own mind so that he never needs someone else to make his hours interesting. He builds his own skills so that he never needs someone else's permission to earn his living. He cultivates his own strength so that he never needs someone else to hold him up when things get hard. Every capability he develops in himself is one less thing he has to depend on the world to provide. And with every one of those capabilities, he becomes a little more free, a little more self-contained, a little more impossible to control through his own helplessness. Compare this to the person who has built nothing in themselves. They depend on others for their income, so they live in fear of losing favor. They depend on others for their sense of worth, so they live in fear of being alone. They depend on others for their entertainment, their comfort, their very ability to get through a day, and so they are perpetually anxious, because their entire life is balanced on things that other people control. Take away the support, and they collapse, because there was never anything underneath but the support itself. The man who depends on his own hands does not have that fear. He knows that if everything was stripped away tomorrow, he could rebuild, because the tools of rebuilding are inside him and cannot be confiscated. This knowledge gives him a calm that the dependent man will never feel. He can take risks, walk away from bad situations, refuse to compromise his integrity because he is not clinging to any external thing for survival. He has made himself the source of his own security, and a man who is his own foundation cannot be knocked down by the loss of anything outside him. So invest in yourself the way most people invest in relationships and possessions. Build the mind that entertains itself. Build the skills that pay your way. Build the strength that carries you through hardship without needing to be carried. Every capability you develop in yourself is a wall in the fortress of your independence. And a man who lives in that fortress needs no one to keep him safe, because he has become the safety. Drop this in the comments. I build what cannot be taken. Number 6, keep your own counsel and need no one's permission. Most people cannot make a single important decision without running to others for permission. They dress it up as asking for advice, but underneath, they are looking for someone to approve the choice, so they don't have to carry the weight of it alone. They need consensus before they act. They need reassurance before they move. They need someone else to tell them it's okay, because they do not trust their own judgment enough to stand behind it. And in doing so, they hand the steering wheel of their own life to whoever they ask. Schopenhauer prized independence of mind above almost everything, and he had little respect for the herd instinct that makes people afraid to think and act on their own. The common man, he observed, does not want to think for himself. He wants to be carried along by the crowd, to believe what others believe and do what others do. because independent judgment requires a courage that most people simply do not have. But the rare man, the one with real inner strength, trusts his own reason, forms his own conclusions, and acts on them without waiting for the crowd to bless the decision. Think about how much power you give away when you need permission to live your own life. The person who needs their family's approval to choose a partner has given their family a veto over their happiness. The person who needs their friends' approval to change direction has made their friends the judges of their destiny. Every time you seek permission, you are announcing that your judgment is not enough, that someone else's opinion outranks your own, and that you would rather be safe in the herd than free on your own 2 feet. And the people you seek permission from learn quickly that they control you, because you have shown them the button that moves you. The untouchable man keeps his own counsel. This does not mean he never listens to anyone. It means the final decision is always his, made in the quiet of his own mind, weighed by his own reason, and owned by himself alone. He gathers information, but he does not outsource the choice. He hears opinions, but he does not need agreement. When he has decided, he moves, and he does not wait for the world to tell him he was allowed to. He answers to his own judgment, and that is the only court whose verdict he needs. There is a deep and quiet power in this. The man who needs no one's permission cannot be stopped by anyone's disapproval, because he was never waiting for their approval to begin with. He cannot be paralyzed by mixed opinions, because he does not require consensus to act. He moves through a world of hesitant, permission-seeking people like someone who knows exactly where he is going, and that certainty alone makes others fall in behind him, because people instinctively follow the one who does not need to be led. So take the steering wheel back. Stop asking whether you are allowed. Stop needing a chorus of voices to approve your life before you dare to live it. Weigh things in your own mind. Decide with your own reason and act on your own authority. You do not need anyone's permission to become who you are meant to become. The moment you truly believe that, an enormous share of the world's power over you simply evaporates. Drop this in the comments. I need no one's permission. Number 7. Reveal only what you choose, because the unreadable man cannot be moved. There is one final need that quietly gives other people power over you, and it is the need to be understood. It sounds harmless, even noble, but watch what it does. The person who needs to be understood explains himself constantly. He tells you his plans, his fears, his reasons, his wounds. He lays himself open, hoping that if you just understand him, you will approve of him, accept him, treat him well. And in doing so, he hands you a complete map of exactly how to reach him, please him, and hurt him. Schopenhauer saw that a wise man guards his inner life, and that revealing too much of yourself to the world is a form of weakness that invites exploitation. Every fear you confess becomes a pressure point. Every desire you announce becomes a handle. Every wound you display becomes a target. The people who wish you well may treat these things gently, but not everyone wishes you well. And you cannot always tell the difference in advance. The man who broadcasts his entire inner world to anyone who will listen has disarmed himself, because he has given away, for free, all the information anyone would need to control him. The untouchable man is different. He does not need you to understand him, and so he feels no compulsion to explain himself. He shares what he chooses to share with the few who have earned it, and holds the rest in reserve. His plans stay quiet until they are done. His weaknesses stay hidden from those who might use them. His inner life is a private room, and he decides who gets to enter and how far they may go. This is not deception. It is discretion. It is the simple wisdom of not handing your enemies a weapon and calling it honesty. Notice how much power this preserves. When people cannot read you, they cannot predict you, and when they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. They do not know which button to push, because you never showed them the buttons. They do not know what you fear, so they cannot threaten it. They do not know what you want, so they cannot dangle it. You have become to them a closed book, and a closed book cannot be used against its author. Your silence about yourself is not emptiness, it is armor, and here is the root of it, tied back to everything we have said. The reason people over-explain and over-reveal is that they need to be understood, and that need, like every other need, is a leash. The man who no longer needs your understanding, no longer needs to expose himself to get it. He is complete in his own self-knowledge. He knows who he is, and he does not require you to confirm it. And because he does not need to be understood, he cannot be manipulated through the desperate desire for it. So learn to hold yourself in reserve. Let people earn access to your inner world instead of giving it away to anyone who asks. Speak less about your plans and let your results speak instead. Keep your fears to yourself and your intentions quiet until the time is right. Not out of paranoia, but out of self-possession. The man who reveals only what he chooses remains always the master of himself. And a man who is master of himself cannot be mastered by anyone else. Drop this in the comments. I owe no explanations. And so we arrive at the truth that all of this has been building toward. When you need no one, you become the still point that nothing can move. Picture the ordinary man for a moment. He is pulled in 100 directions at once. This way by his desires, that way by his fears, dragged toward approval, away from disapproval, toward comfort, away from risk. He is never still, never settled, never his own, because he is being moved constantly by forces outside himself. He is a leaf in the wind, and every gust is someone else's opinion or his own uncontrolled want. His whole life is reaction, and reaction is the opposite of power. Now picture the man who needs no one. He is not pulled because there is nothing to pull. His desires are mastered, so they cannot drag him. His need for approval is gone, so the crowd cannot steer him. His expectations are low, so disappointment cannot break him. His security is inside him, so loss cannot topple him. His judgment is his own, so no one's permission is required to move him, and no one's disapproval can stop him. He stands in the center of the storm, completely still, while everyone around him is blown about by the wind. That stillness is not coldness. It is power in its purest form. This is what Schopenhauer pointed toward across everything he wrote. Not the power to command others, but the far greater power to be self-sufficient, self-contained, and self-ruled. The man who commands others still needs them, still fears their rebellion, still depends on their obedience. And so even the tyrant is secretly a slave to the thing he is trying to control. But the man who needs no one has escaped that trap entirely. He wants nothing from you, and so you have no power over him. He fears nothing you can do, and so you cannot threaten him. He is the one truly free person in a world of people who are all, in one way or another, in chains. And understand the paradox at the heart of this, because it is the most important part. Needing no one does not make you incapable of connection. It makes your connection clean. When you no longer cling to people out of need, you can finally be with them out of genuine choice. Your relationships stop being desperate transactions and start being free gifts. The people you keep close are there because you want them there, not because you cannot survive without them. And that is a far higher form of love than the anxious, grasping attachment that most people mistake for it. The untouchable man loves from strength, not from hunger. And that is the only kind of love that does not slowly poison the one who gives it. So hear this, and let it sink in. There was never anything wrong with your desire to stand on your own. The instinct to need no one is not a defect to be cured. It is the seed of the rarest freedom a human being can attain. The world will tell you that you are cold, that you are too independent, that you should need people more. And the world tells you this because a person who needs no one cannot be controlled. And that frightens the people who are used to controlling through need. Let it frighten them. Break the chains one by one. Master the desires that made you predictable. Kill the need for approval that made you a performer. Lower the expectations that set you up to be shattered. Build the inner resources that no one can confiscate. Take back your own judgment and your own counsel. Guard your inner world and reveal only what you choose. And step, at last, into the stillness at the center of the storm, where nothing outside you can move you, and no one holds a single string. The man who needs no one is not alone in the sad sense. He is free in the deepest sense. He has become his own foundation, his own security, his own source. And a man who is all of those things has nothing left for the world to grab. He is untouchable. And so are you. The moment you decide to be. If this reached something in you that you have always felt but could never name, then prove it. Drop these 3 words in the comments right now. I need no one. Say it, mean it, and start living it, because it is the truest power you will ever hold. And if you are ready to keep building this strength, to become the version of yourself that no one can control, manipulate, or move against your will, then hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel, because the work of becoming untouchable has only just begun, and I will be here for every step of it.